Hello, we're talking to Don from Tricycle Farms today. Don Bennett, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, Alex. Good to see you again.
Okay, I have a couple questions about Tricycle Farms. So what inspired you to start the food rescue project?
Well, it was being hungry. We were doing food, growing food at the farm. We were trying to develop farm programs and projects, but there was no money for salaries. So we were doing it as volunteers. Everybody was a volunteer. And, we're human and hungry. And it's every day of the year we need to eat, even when food that we're growing or trying to grow is not seasonal, or it is seasonal, therefore we're not always harvesting.
How long has the program been around?
We started in 2016 having conversations. I had learned about, how much food waste there is in all of our food systems. Mm-hmm. And so, how do you divert some of that food waste, especially from the landfills where, environmentally it's extremely bad. It's also, taking up space and room and volume that we don't really have because we're constantly making garbage and waste. And food waste is particularly nasty because it creates some pretty noxious greenhouse gases.
Yes.
Some of the worst, actually. So therefore, why are we wasting 43% of our food? Why is over 35% of our neighbors' food insecure? Mm-hmm. And how do we solve two problems at the same exact time with the same resources?
So you've worked with several places in the community. I'm helping you with Hillcrest Towers.
Yeah, you're a volunteer every Tuesday.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been very fulfilling. Yeah. Thank you for the experience. I'd like to talk to you. You're supposed to expand a little bit more. So what do you think about the expansion?
Well, the expansion is coming at the same time that we're closing the primary part of our programming, which was Tricycle Farms, which was, the experiential farm, events, and kids and families coming to work at the farm. And that's been a really sad experience. We could not make the ends meet that was going to hire and maintain young farmers to come out and teach and work with the community on growing food. So we had to make a decision, and the decision was that our most impactful program, which is close to 200,000 pounds of food every single year through that food rescue and recovery, was a program that was efficient, was agile, and would require much less resources to operate and continue. So, close the farm is one of our missions right now. Sell the farm, sell the rock house, but continue to do food rescue. And the way we're, going to continue is that we've received or about to receive a all-electric, full-size Ford Transit van, and it's again, I said all electric. So we're about to be even more environmentally conscious in the way we do this. Our capacity is going to expand. They're opening a new Whole Foods in Rogers, and we're hoping to get the nod on also collecting that food and distributing it.
Yes, so I was going to ask you about other partnerships that you're developing. So the next Whole Foods that's opening in the Rogers area, you're going to work with them as well.
Well, we hope to.
Yes, we hope to. And so that will expand. We'll be able to help a lot more people then.
Yeah, I think, in terms of our efforts, it will be more regional.
Yes.
We're already now going into Springdale. We have a weekly pickup at the Spring Creek Food Hub. And that they represent 65 local and regional farmers. And when they, everybody that deals with food has food waste. The waste part of it is nobody's fault. But it's what do you do with that waste, and when do you do it, and how, how efficient are you at making sure that it is gotten into the hands or on the tables of families who need food.
Yes. So how many partners do you work with now? You work with Whole Foods. Are there any other ones that you work with?
Well, I work with the University of Arkansas Division of Agriculture.
Nice.
Through some of their research projects, they have products. One of their byproducts, is eggs.
Nice.
When they're working with the chickens on, different types of feed and things like that, they still are laying eggs. And
Yes.
So, how much eggs became in the recent history, how expensive that they became.
Yes.
And so I'm working with an individual at the U of A Division of Agriculture who ensures that, when they have a plethora of eggs, like yesterday, I picked up and delivered 1,500 eggs.
1,500
So
eggs.
that's U of A Division of Agriculture. Then there's natural grocers. We pick up there once per week. That's 100% of the store. They're able to store and keep it, and we pick it up every Monday and then distribute it to one of our recipient pantry partners.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, so it ensures that. We're also recently started working with Ozark Natural Foods, and we're going there twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And, it's just a matter of developing relationship, partnership, and then collaboration in terms of what are the goals?
Yes.
Efficiency is really important to us. And that efficiency means that when that store has pulled food off of the shelves that they've deemed that they cannot sell, it could be an arbitrary date that says best buy, which does not mean bad buy. It's a very, very important distinction.
Yes, I've noticed most of the food is still fresh when we pass it out.
Well, and that's because we have a 24-hour rule. We pick it up and we distribute, and we're working with pantry partners that have agreed, or because of the timing of when we deliver it to them, they are having distribution pantry within, sometimes like at the same time we deliver, sometimes within hours of delivery, but at least per our agreement and
Yes.
in collaboration within 24 hours.
Yes, very impressive.
Yeah, so fresh food on plates, and that ensures nutrition and safety and freshness.
Yes. So, in attracting new people, are you trying to attract new staff, or are you going to stick with the staff that you have right now, or do you want more people to come in for the food rescue program?
Well, I'm freshly shaved, but normally I have a white beard just like you do.
Really?
So I'm not getting any younger. The pandemic and closing the farm and mentally, physically, I'm not saying I'm worn out, but I'm wearing thin, and I do think that there needs to be young leadership and someone else to step in, because the consistency of the program and the reliability of the program that we brought to the community, which is we never stopped during, even though we never got the designation as a frontline organization during the pandemic, we never stopped. It's not what we bring, it's that we continue to do it every single week. And that's my goal as I try to work towards retirement, is that I successfully and safely hand off the baton. And then the program, how it grows, how it expands, who it impacts will be based upon new leadership.
So you don't think that you might change your mind in 2 years?
My body says no. my mind, let's be real. Compassion fatigue is a real phenomenon. I didn't know what it was, but my meetings with the community of practice with UAMS gave me some insight on what my brain and my body was telling me, that I'm tired and that I'm an individual. I am not superhuman in any respect. I think that the reality is that what we're doing is because we're human, and that I think when you have a role, especially like this, I think you don't own it.
True.
It doesn't belong to you. It is something that you're holding for a short period of time, and that is the key too. Is that not every individual is ready or willing to accept this baton, and it is very important to me that I find someone that understands that this reliability, this showing up every week is the key gift, if you will, that we're bringing. We do show up at Whole Foods, and sometimes we pick up 6 crates of food. Sometimes we pick up 20 crates of food.
Yes.
We carry 21 crates every single day. I don't know if I told you this, but we just got back from Spring Creek.
Yes.
And they had some unbelievable 4 or 5 different varieties of watermelon today.
Nice.
And we packed out the van. Now, we could have taken more, but we couldn't because the van we were at max capacity. That's about to change with our new electric van, which is the 184-inch wheelbase, 9 foot tall. Takes us to a new level of potential, and we will have the range to cover Northwest Arkansas and be even more regional than we have been.
So you are looking for extra help, extra volunteers and stuff?
We will be. We have a great complement of volunteers right now. I have a few spots open, but we've been filling them with current volunteers. Part of the reason is we're, when we make this transition to the new van, processes and procedures will change. And so you have to kind of work your way into those. And whereas I've been trying to work hard to hand it to a volunteer and let them go, I feel like a dad sometimes. It's like, here it is, kids. Here's the keys to the van. Go. Be careful, and do the job. But right now I need to maintain my my connection, not only to the volunteers that we have currently, but the partners that we're developing, the partners that we have that we're trying to develop even further, and. It's a big job, and I don't really have that leader yet to take over, so it's my job.
Yeah. I think that you're going to be here for a while. I know you said 2 years, but something tells me that you're going to stay for a little bit longer.
I might. Yeah, I might. I mean, the sting of failure at the farm follows me, but the success of food recovery, which is a surprise. It was the accidental program, but its effectiveness is, all you have to do is ride one day to see it.
Exactly.
But it goes 6 days a week.
Yes.
And we're looking at going 6 days a week and being in at least 2 cities. We're already making connections in Springdale. We have connections in Rogers.
Yes.
We're working with Salvation Army in Fayetteville. They want us to work with them in Bentonville.
Oh, great.
When we move up there. There's been some great suggestions on some specific like choice pantries that are up there.
Really?
And I've talked with some of the leadership at Samaritan House. So we're going to have like almost immediate partners.
Yes.
That we can distribute to.
Yeah.
We're unique, I think, as I look across the country, and we've been to ReFed, which is, where you go, the conference that talks about food recovery and what the efforts are that are going on in the country. And, I think we're a fairly unique rescue organization. The way we became one is unique, but we're not a pantry. We fill the gap. We fill the gap where the pantry can't, or doesn't have the resources, or is too busy really working with the community that is receiving the food, and that's a huge, huge undertaking. It requires a lot of storage. It requires tons of volunteers.
Yes.
And one of our major partners, St. James, we just with the Walmart Foundation, we just received support through a collaboration with St. James.
Oh,
and
nice.
And when I say St. James Food Pantry, you got to mention Monique Jones.
Yes.
She is someone who I've grown to respect and admire and collaborate with on a weekly basis. And what many people don't realize is when I started working with St. James, they were helping 75 families, 75, 80 families. Mm-hmm. Now it's like 1,400, and
Nice.
that growth came out of, just the amazing hard work of Monique Jones and the support of the volunteers that she has. But, that leadership is special and was very necessary because that was the need. The need is even greater than what she is serving, and she is trying to grow into that. And what Tricycle does is I help fill a gap, in terms of their operation. I'm a small part, but I'm a part. You go on Tuesdays.
Yes.
There are 52 Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
If you go on one Tuesday and you find 4, 5 crates of food, you may be disappointed. That disappointment is that's part of that way compassion fatigue works. You're picking up these crates of food and you're serving Hillcrest. That's who you serve every Tuesday.
Yeah.
And when you bring that to those neighbors and you've only got 4 crates, you tell me you're not disappointed.
A little.
Yeah, you are. But here's the thing. You've made a commitment to show up 52 weeks. So over the course of those 52 weeks, you're going to see that sometimes you're taking them 25 crates, and they're super excited and they're super happy.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
Yeah. And what you may not know, and I probably have told you, though, our Ozark Natural Foods run Tuesday afternoon also goes to Hillcrest Towers.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the things that we've been able to do is a gap. I call ourselves a gap organization. We're filling a gap.
Mm-hmm.
There's point A where the food's being donated.
Yes.
There's point B where the food is being distributed.
Mm-hmm.
And we're coming to point A and making the connection to point B, right? And doing that every week ensures that that consistency and the food security is really in our reliability.
Yes.
And I think also that communication, that it's like we're going to show up and we're going to pick up every single bit of food that they're willing to donate.
Yeah.
The expansion to the next door in terms of Rogers, which we've got our fingers crossed. There's a lot of people making decisions.
Yes.
That some of them don't even live here. Some of them are with the corporation. Some of them are with Donation Connection in Tennessee. There's a lot of deciders involved there. But what we hope is that since 2016, we've consistently picked up 100% of the food that Whole Foods was donating.
Yes.
Since 2016, every single bit of that food, and made sure it was distributed efficiently and for neighbors, which, I think we barely touched on the fact that we have a huge social issue in an agricultural state that's top 25 in almost all of the categories of agriculture.
Yeah.
Yet our children are the most food insecure in the United States. Supposedly the richest country in the world, and we can't even feed our children in the state of Arkansas.
It is pretty sad.
We have wage disparity that doesn't match up with the cost of housing, the cost of food, the cost of living. This creates trauma within these families,
Yes.
within these communities, and this service of trying to get this fresh, nutritious food onto plates is just one sliver of what's needed.
But you to a lot of people.
This state
That's great.
issues SNAP cards like anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
This state is the worst state in the union in terms of how and what kind of hurdles people have to go to get a little bit of help.
Yes.
I mean, it is 80 to 90% are rejected,
Mm-hmm.
And it creates a bureaucracy of red tape for families already dealing with the trauma of not having enough resources.
Yes.
It creates a bureaucracy that makes it almost impossible for the families who really need it to do it. Fraud does not exist in this world. They say that there's too much fraud. What there is just too much need. The war on the poor needs to be a war on the poverty, a war on the systemic issues leading to it. Not blaming, not indicting, and not creating more hurdles for someone who is in a race that can't win.
Yes, and I think that's what you do by helping so many people every week. You relieve their stress, the stress that they have to go through just living. You take care of their hunger.
Yeah.
That's why I'm proud to work with you. I really, really am.
Well, it gives us a chance to connect with
Yes.
folks that are just real people. I mean, I've learned from our resident-run pantries. They're not all. They're we work with the nonprofits like Monique Jones in St. James. We work with Salvation Army. We work with Kim and Christina down there at Seven Hills. We're trying to help people where they're at, whether they're housed or unhoused, or it doesn't matter. The need is just so great. It's everywhere.
Yeah. I think that's what we'll need in the area with so much funding being cut. I think that we'll have to depend on grassroots efforts to get people fed and staying above ground.
Yeah. I just hope that the people who are funding realize that that these organizations are challenged.
Yes.
And they need fewer hurdles to the funding that's necessary to distribute the food, and understand that some agencies and government agencies are no longer supportive of that, which, it's not just they're no longer supportive of these efforts, they're no longer supportive in other areas, creating even greater food insecurity and greater need. So,
strange.
These things are tend to snowball and grow, and it's invisible unless you're working in it every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things that one of the reasons why I feel bad about the farm and it's closing, but I feel somewhat energized and stubborn about allowing this program to fade, because not only are the stores donating food dependent on us, but the recipient pantries depend upon us, and then ultimately the families who are receiving what I consider the most nutritious, the most dignified food that is being distributed in the area.
Yes. So tell me, okay, lastly, I know we kept you for a while.
That's all right. I mean, I'm sorry. I just yak away, right?
But we really appreciate it. Okay, Tricycle Farms, I know that you want to close the farm, but the food program is staying open. Tell us something about the program that that nobody knows, that you would like us to know.
Well, I mean, let's just talk about the farm a little bit, what we're trying to do there. We have 2 acres in the center of the city that, we worked with the engineering department, and the bike trail now goes by the whole entire farm.
It looks beautiful now.
Yeah. I mean, the Rock House is a 1937 house that's built out of the stone that was on that land.
That's great.
It is an amazing place. I mean, there's potential for commercial activity. There's potential for trailside activity. We were going to have tricycle trailside there.
Nice.
The sale of these 2 properties, and we're about to put them on the market. One of them, the Rock House, we're going to put it on the market for $450,000. If we got that $450,000, I would be able to hand off the baton to a leader to run this program with funding already in place for at least 2.5 years. Because we don't have the farm, we've reduced our budget so that we're going to be able to deliver $1 million to $2 million in value of food for just a little over $100,000 a year. And that is with a couple of executive positions. In executive positions, in my world, is you pick up crates of watermelon and you deliver them.
Yeah.
That's the executive. But, part of the executive is like seeing these strategic relationships and play them out and make sure that every single aspect, from a connection to a volunteer, to a connection to a collaborating nonprofit, to working with a resident-run pantry, that those relationships are extremely important and nurtured and maintained throughout this whole process, because essentially the humanity of it is the key.
Okay, so tell us, will you come back to the show in a couple months and tell us how things are going? Give us an update.
I would love to, because we're going to be receiving the van.
Okay.
We're going to be soon. The charging station is going to be installed. We probably have an office somewhere. We're looking. We'll have to relocate when we sell so that we'll have the funding. I hope we can ask the community. We're going to have this gap. This gap is going to take place. It's right now, between now and our ability to sell the farm. We still need the community support. Less in volunteerism and more in personal checks.
Okay.
We definitely need to maintain. We're now have dropped our budget to a little over $5,000 a month.
Okay.
It's hard to maintain that, and we've gotten again support from the Walmart Foundation, but we need community support still. We still maintain our social media presence. We are still trying to let everybody know what we're doing and how we're doing it. It's not as exciting as the farm and the growing tomatoes and growing watermelons, but it is very practical, and when you give $1, I hope everybody caught that when I said a little over $100,000, and we can deliver. We're currently delivering over $1 million, but my goal is $2 million. Under the same budget. And I think those are. It's a practical goal. It's an achievable goal, but it does require support from the community.
Yes, I think it will come.
I hope
so too.
Yeah, and thank you so much for being a volunteer in this program and inviting me here to Fayetteville Public Television to sit on this stage and share my perspective. I really do appreciate that.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know that you had just done a delivery to come over here and talk to us, so we really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Don, thank you so much.
Thank
I
you,
really
Alex.
appreciate it. Thanks.